Hello, everybody. Nancy at Star and Flurry Tarot coming at you. I did decide to add tarot to the last name of a Star and Flurry, so just it might be easier to find if anybody's looking for it. Not that they are, but I do want to thank all my new subscribers. I thought I'd never get out of the 240 range, and the last I looked was 280 something, which is really exciting. And I'm so thankful for all of you. Thanks for chiming in and if you enjoy these videos, please, the standard, please feel free to like and subscribe because I would love to build that count a little further. I'd love the community to grow. Um, so here I am. Okay, so a couple things. Snow's in the forecast for next week. I don't even freaking believe it. But a month ago, I put in for appointments to get or an appointment to get my snow tires put on, and I did that today. So I feel like, and I thought I was super early in doing this. I mean, it's mid-October, but we usually don't see significant snowfall till January, but that can change. And we've gotten earlier snowfalls. But so this whole time in my head, I'm thinking the appointment's at 3 o'clock. They sent me a reminder. I'm like, yeah, I know, and all that. And then all of a sudden, I went to double check the address, and the appointment was at 2. So I was like 45 minutes late. So I called and said, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Can I still bring it in?" And he's like, "Well, yeah, let me check." And then when he came back on, I felt like it was totally my fault that I screwed up. So I said, "Look, if it's easier, I'll just make another. If it's gonna screw up your thing today, let me just don't jump through any special hoops for me. I'll just make another appointment." And he goes, "Well, we're pretty much booked through December. It is that time of year." And I was like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah." He said, "So you best come in. We might make you wait a little longer than normal than if you'd had a regular appointment, but I would go ahead and come in." So I did, and I did. I ended up waiting about an hour and a half. It's usually about 45 minutes when you have an appointment. If they're not in the thick of things like the first snowfall, like just don't even. At that point, they take you first come first serve, and you could be there for hours unless you have a pal that could pick you up and take you home. But yeah, so anyways, I got in, got it done, good to go. So then when I saw the snow forecast, I'm like, now it says chance of rain or snow. So this is not any beefy storm, not a nor'easter blowing into the Pacific Northwest. What would that be called? A nor'wester? Yeah, not that. But you never know. I mean, these storms early in the year can be annoying. We're a little bit higher than the city proper, so we tend to get a lot more snow than they do. And when they hit early, they're frequently there's snow, and then just barely freezing, and it snows, and then it gets above freezing, it melts, and then it goes down below freezing at night, and it just turns into this sheet of ice. So these early season storms are the ones you really got to be careful about, or you're going to be chasing ice on your driveway the entire winter, which is pretty much how last winter started. You just couldn't stay on top of it, and everybody was struggling. So, anyways, that's my that's my weather story. Let's see. I took notes because I actually did this video the other day and then didn't record any audio. So welcome to YouTube. Um, Cheers. I am having a little glass of wine because I earned it today. I had a busy day. Um, but this is my first glass, so hopefully I'll remain, intact upstairs, thoughtful upstairs. Um, it's really good. So one thing I realized I'd gotten away from was my perfume of the day. So this is my perfume of the day. It's called, I think it's called Nishani Extrait de Perfume. I cannot even pronounce the title of it, so I'm not even going to try, but I'll put it there in case you're interested. So, what it smells like is if you've ever had the thing it reminds me of is when my dad took us all on this cruise, and we were leaving from Vancouver, Canada, so we had to all get up there. My brother and his wife and son were flying in, and we were driving up from Portland because we were taking off from Vancouver, and so we all decided to just stay a night in a hotel. And when we walked in the hotel, this blast of kind of spa smell, like white tea smell, So that is initially what this comes off as, and I think I've recommended prior. Elizabeth Arden has a lovely white tea. So if you like, it's a very kind of, what do they call that? Very singular noted. It doesn't do much. You spray it, you smell it, and that's pretty much where it stays. It doesn't have much of a, not much going on in the middle in base notes. It's just a kind of a white, simple white tea fragrance. It's lovely, and priced accordingly. And I always recommend it when somebody asks me for something light. So this starts out like that, but this is more of a heavy hitter. And I'm not saying you're going to blow people out of the room, but it's really lovely. But then after about an hour and a half, it turns into vintage Anne Klein. And so for anybody who, yeah, I don't know if a lot of people are my age, but Anne Klein was, God, that was a delicious fragrance. Took me a while to warm up to it, mostly because a friend of my parents, she wore that a lot, and so I just always associated that fragrance with her. And then it's kind of weird about you when you wear somebody else's fragrance; it just feels weird. But after many many years, I decided to try that, and that story kind of goes along with what I'm going to talk about here in a minute. But anyway, so yeah, so it turned into Anne Klein, and I've bought some Anne Klein on eBay, old vintage Anne Klein. But I mean, it was, I think they stopped producing it in the 80s, maybe early 90s. So anything you're buying is, you know, 20 plus years old, if not more. And it does turn. Um, it has such a fresh, lovely fragrance, but when it turns, it gets a little dank. I don't know how else to describe it. It's still lovely in a weird way, but I tend not to wear it when it's on the few that I've bought that are like that. But anyway, so yeah, I highly recommend this. I enjoy LuckyScent.com, which is a great little perfume house online. They actually have stores, I think, in LA and New York, probably. Um, but yeah, so good. I think it's not cheap. I'll be honest with you, but God, it's so worth it. So if you are my age and looking for something to represent Anne Klein, this is it. And if you're something looking for a spa day fragrance with that packs a little more punch than your lighter Elizabeth Arden white teas and other ones that you'll find, this is the go getter. Um, so I was going to talk about fragrances and memories and things like that. And I was going to say that how did this start? Oh, because I was watching, I don't know if it was, I think it was Dawn Michelle, who was talking about a deck she had that just because of the annoying part of getting the deck, and I don't remember what that story was, but that it kind of infused the deck with negative energy on her part, and she could not shake it. And I was like, God, that reminds me of one of my all-time favorite fragrances, and I've talked about it before, Byredo Val d'Afrique. It's a beautiful fragrance, in my mind, a little haunting. I don't know how else to describe it. Not haunting like Halloween, but it's got an incredible depth to it. I can't even tell you what the notes are. Um, if you're ever in a store that has it out sampling, give it a shot, spray it, and then walk away. Then walk away and walk around for a couple hours, because it really blossoms as it ages on your skin. It's just a stunning fragrance all the way around. Another expensive one, but in my mind, if you find one that really taps you, you wear it every day for years. If you're frugal like I am. Everybody says never spray more than 5, and I'm like, oh my god, 5, God, you just no, don't do that. One on the wrist, maybe one on the pulse point on your neck, and that's it in my mind. Or if you're really being frugal, and I've done this too when I'm running low, is just spray a little in the air and then just walk into it, let it just kind of fall down on your head, and then you can wear it around on your head for the rest of the day. Anyways, so that fragrance. But what was weird is that, and I've told this story where I sprayed too much when we were on the cruise with my dad, and I sprayed too much, and it stunk up the room, and it was my bad. Fortunately, Dad didn't mind the fragrance; he was very forgiving, thankfully. But since then, I'd always associated that fragrance with that cruise. And over time, after my dad died, I associated it with him dying. It was what he really liked the fragrance. And so I would wear it frequently because it reminded him of the cruise. I had created a scent memory without knowing that that's what I was doing with him. Um, and it was an effective one because that's all I thought about was the cruise. And then of course after he died, that's all I every time I went, oh God, I haven't worn that in a while, and I was like, oh, and I just get sad again. What the heck is that? Is that like a major piece of dust? Oh my God, either that or poltergeist. I hope that was dust. I don't know if any of you saw that one just go down here like that. Anyways, so maybe that was Dad. So anyways, so when Dawn was talking about this deck, and I was like, in my head, I said, Dawn, you need to take that deck back. That deck is yours now, and it's not. It might be infused with some weird juju. You need to get that juju out of there. You need to infuse it with yourself. Make it so. And so I had that little conversation with myself while I was watching her video. And then I was that day or the next day, I threw these cards, and I can't even remember what they were, but I remember thinking, what is it saying? And I realized it was pretty much saying, take your own damn advice, idiot. And I was like, and I remember looking at it going, about what? I don't know what you want advice about what? What did I say? And then I was upstairs in my bedroom. I saw that bottle of Balda Freak, and I go, that's what it's saying. It's saying it's time to take that fragrance back. Time to create new memories with that fragrance. And I was like, of course. Of course. Scent memories, they say that of the five senses, scent is the strongest. You need the least amount of it to create the full memory. In other words, you may see something that you remember, you may hear something that you remember, but you need to hear it for a long time, or you need to hear a lot of it, or you need to see it for a while, see it for a long time. But fragrance, you don't need that much of it to bring that entire memory back, which totally makes sense to me. And so I thought, you know what? It's time for me to take Pal Freak back. And so that's what I've been doing for the past month and a half. I've been wearing it pretty consistently, especially in the fall, because it's to me, it's a perfect fall fragrance. A lot of people think it's more of a spring and summer, but I just think it's got a depth that reaches into fall. And this has been a stunning fall. In my city this year, it's just stunning. Just no hard freezes too early, or we had a hard freeze last year really early, and everything just went from spring to dead. But this year, it's just the whole place is just lit up, and it's really really cool. And so I have taken back Balda Freak as a fall scent, and a scent that will remind me of fall going forward. Now, it isn't diminishing the memory that I have of my father with that fragrance. That will always be there. But I think I don't want to say the negative, but the sadness that that fragrance used to bring out in me, I think I've turned that around. And I'm really happy about that because it's a smell that I love. And I can't wait to continue to create new memories with that fragrance. So I'm very excited about that. So back to tarot advice. If you ever have a deck that is just really giving you a hard time, and I have a few of them, and look, sometimes they just don't work out. They just don't work out. But I think that if you give it, cleanse it. Yeah, I just got a new little, give it a little sound cleanse, give it a little crystal cleanse, or clarify, whatever they do. I don't know what they do. I just let them do that. And if necessary, pull out a big gun, of which I have my big gun pyramid obsidian. But pull it out and then just work with it. Like I talked about working with this deck like a puppy. This deck, I think it was my last video, Mind's Eye Tarot, which was just being a jerk to me, just being a obnoxious little jerk. And I was like, no, we're not gonna play this game. And so we're actually getting along pretty well, which I'm very excited about. So that's been a fun turnaround for me. But like I said, if you have a deck that is just, for whatever reason reaches you, that was a struggle to get, or took forever, or you had a nasty situation with the seller, or whatever, um, let that go, let the deck sit, let it rest. I was going to say the Mind's Eye journey. One of the things, I didn't really relate to it this way, but It was just like I said, first out of the box, just being obnoxious. But then I remembered that when I pulled it out of the box, it hadn't been packed well. The box was literally open. Half of the cards were upside down. The guidebook was fully out of the box. So I don't know whether it had been, if somebody else had bought it and then returned it and they sent it to me that way, which I hope is not the case, but or if it just got kind of tousled around in transit, I don't know. But whatever. It had a long journey, it had a rough journey, and it needed to rest. I watched this YouTube. Oh, what's her name? Spirit, Free Spirit Equestrian. I'll try to remember. Let me make. Oh, I don't have a pen on me. Shoot. Oh, yes, I do. I'll try to make a note on the in the down. You know what I'm talking about in the description. I think it's called Free Spirit Equestrian. But she's going through this. She just purchased a what she calls a weanling. So it's a young filly that had just recently been weaned. She bought it at an auction and um, completely untrained, the horses. And so she's starting from day one. And it's just really interesting to watch her slowly warm the horse up to her, and the arduous process that is. And I think in my head, I think sometimes that's what you got to do with tarot decks is as bold and as they are, I think we ask them to be incredibly sensitive. And if they've been abused in any energetic way in their trip going from wherever they're coming from to you, then we need to respect that and give it some time to rest and get its senses back and give it a good bath and let its energy find its way back into itself. So I know I'm not too much into the whole kind of juju stuff of this, but that's my theory on that stuff. So that's my story on that. What else was it good? Oh, I was gonna say there was another fragrance in my history. Um, there's a guy I dated for about 2 seconds. This is years ago. So this is how long these scent memories can last. This was years ago. 79, 80. So long as that 20, 43 years ago. Oh my God. So he was a whack job. I did not know that at the time we went on our date. 2 dates, 3 dates maybe. And he did introduce me to Melissa Etheridge, who I dearly love, music back in the day. I love her. I don't listen to her much anymore, but I loved her early stuff a lot. And what else and so anyways, but he smelled so good. And I remember one day I said, "What are you wearing?" And he said, "It's called Tabac, Tabac. And it's a German cologne, pretty inexpensive um, on Amazon." And so years ago, I said, "God, I love this smell." And this is back before they were making unisex fragrances, but this one could clearly have been. I felt like I could wear it easily, so I bought a little bottle of it. I may have seen it at, you know, Fred Meyer, my local drugstore, or whatever. So I bought some and put it on, and immediately it reminded me of him. It was just like, oh, because this guy, I won't go into the details, but he was a major, yeah, he had problems, and it didn't take me long to figure that out, and I broke it off very very quickly. I mean, it wasn't like we were together for that long, but I just was, he kind of locked in, and I was like, no, 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 this is not, no, we're not doing this. And so then he sends me a letter basically saying, okay, fine, I'm going to just kill myself, and I'm like, unless I come back to you, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be unsympathetic, but um no, that's not how you get a girl. So that didn't happen, and I probably should have worded that better, but bear with. I'll put a little thing down below and a timestamp of where I mentioned that. But anyways, so needless to say, this fragrance hat was sown and reaped with a lot of not really great memories of that smell, which was frustrating because it was so freaking lovely. And I did the same thing with tobacco. This was probably a couple of years ago, but I didn't really connect it with everything going forward. I just went, screw this. I love this. I love this fragrance. I am gonna wear it enough that he is not in that memory anymore. And I still don't wear it that much, but when I do, he is not the first person I think of when I put it on. So there's that. So it does work. You can kind of retrain your brain to put different memories in front of that fragrance so that you can relate it to something better. more enjoyable. So there's that. So what else? Uh, so the other thing I wanted to tell you really quickly. So a couple things. So I just bought a deck from well, okay. So let me start the story by saying this. I went to Newt's, and I was in one of those classes, and there was a woman next to me with this cute little bag and this cute little miniature Radiant Wise. Now it wasn't Los Scarabeo copy of Radiant Wise. It was a borderless, kind of vintagey looking. My memory may be failing, but but it was such a great size, and I thought, look at you being all efficient. I'd lugged down 3 decks or whatever. It was just ridiculous. So I went online and I finally found, I don't know, it's Etsy. I went to Etsy and I found this deck. Okay, obviously roses and lilies, and it was just a borderless Radiant Wise, literally. Um, I don't even. did away with the box because it was just a little tight. But the classic Radiant Wise. I mean, everything about it was Radiant Wise, right down to the banners. I don't. I'd like to think it's not a fake deck, but I don't know. But the problem for me is that the regular Radiant Wise cardstock is too thick, too big. Even the pocket version just doesn't work for me. And I love the deck, so I got this one and got a cute little bag to put it in, and I'll show those off in a minute. But then the other day, I'm on, I don't know where, printer, printer something. There's 3 of them, right? Make playing cards, printmakers, and then something else. Anyways, I have the regular version of this deck, which is it's called Pam's. I don't remember what the other one was called. Do I have that here? I do not. Do I have it here? I don't. Let's see it. I don't think I do. Shoot, I wish I could show it to you, but I don't have it. Anyways, but it's this, but it has the other one has kind of more of a light blue. So this is a vintage called Pam's. I don't even know what to call it, but it's and I think it's smaller than poker size, but it's on a linen cardstock. There's not much light here, but whatever. Um, but it's been vintagized, whatever the term is, and I love it, and I love the size of it. So let me compare it to that little one I just showed you, and then do I have a regular? So it is, so it's a little smaller than that, but I don't think it's as small as the low scarabeo, can I talk low scarabeo mini decks, which to me are just a little too small. U.S. games are okay, but I wish they had a more flexible cardstock. I'm so freaking picky. I know. But what I love, I like I said, I ordered this deck from the same maker, and I'll put a link down below. But I really like this vintage version, and I knew I loved the size, and it comes on linen. Yes, please, and I love it. Mm. So, so I got that. So I'm very excited, and I got a little. Pardon me, that was a nasty sneeze. Sorry. I got a little bag. It's actually a little coin purse on Etsy from a it's Oz. I'll put a link down because she has some great bags. Azazadin, A-Z as in zebra, Azazadin. She's on Etsy. She has some beautiful little bags, and this one was just perfect for that deck. I'm so excited. So I got that. What was I going to tell you about? I guess I was just going to tell you about tarot bags. Is that I struggle with most tarot bags, kind of the ones that I speak about a lot, which I really love, not dissing them in any way. But I think in a lot of ways their fabric choices are restricted to kind of the more witchy vibe. Not all, but a lot, bats and moons and witch hats and that kind of stuff. And I'm more into the not that, more this kind of stuff. And so, but I just couldn't find it anywhere. It's so funny. I was like, it's like when you're on Google and you can't. find what the frick it is you're looking for, and you realize that your choice of words are just not making Google find what you want. So I went onto Etsy and I put in small, I think I just put in small coin pouch, and ended up finding, in my opinion, finding like 3 or 4 really great websites that have cool. Like, I'm partial to zipper bags. I just prefer them rather than the ties. I don't mind the ties, and I have several. I love Peggy bags with the stretchy. I don't like that. I never have liked the ones that you pull the string on the top, because the strings get hung up on the bags when you're trying to pull them out, and they get hung up on each other and just drive me crazy. So I like just the zipper bags. This is one of the larger ones I just bought. But oh my God, look at this. It's so pretty. And I put a little zipper pull, as I do on all my bags, put a little zipper pull on it. And the inside, I have, what did I put in there? Pensive Path, which has happily resided in its box forever. The box is starting to show wear, and I knew it couldn't stay there forever. And so I got this for it. And look the inside. It's got kind of just a really cool cotton kind of print, and it's good. There's a thickness there, so I think it's very protective of the decks. And I've learned that you have to kind of put the decks in front way. And so this one, now this is a bigger version of most I've got, and this is not, pardon me, Azazadin. This is a different one, and I'll link it down below as well. But this one measures 7 inches by 4.5, which is just the perfect size. The other, is it Prairie Moon? Let me slide over here. Prairie Moon um, does some great bags, and they are, I think, that same 7 by 4.5. It's just, to me, the perfect size for regular size tarot decks. They're not super chunky. This one holds the Magical Nature Tarot. Oh no, this one's holding my Fairy Tarot. So this deck is not a regular size tarot deck. It's a little wider. I think it's wider. Let me check. Yeah. So it's wider than a regular tarot, but shorter. Shorter, but wider. But these cards are going to be, I'm going to get them all mixed up down the road, I know. Okay. But anyway, so this deck is wider, a little chunkier. I love this deck. But it fits perfect in these 6 by 4. Is it 6? Did I say 6 or 6.5? Pretty much 6.5. Yeah, 6.5 by 4 is just the perfect size. Yeah, so Prairie Moon does these, and I love her fabric choices as well. She does a good job. And I'll put her link down below. But anyway, so this, I just adore it. This is perfect. And then I found these. Now they're a little smaller, but I just love the checkerboard. What did I end up putting in here? Oh, right. I put the smaller Radiant Wise in here. And I love this little bag. And now it's a little smaller, so it's not going to work for a regular tarot. So it's 6 by 4, 4 by 6, so postcard size. But and I got one like that, and they're reasonably priced. Then I found this, which is again a little bit bigger, 6.5, 6.5 by 4.5, and about an inch wide at the bottom. And I got 2 of these, this one and this one, and put little zipper pulls on them, and they fit really nicely in a regular size tarot deck. I've got the Edmund Duloc in here. Oops, lining came out. But they're lined really nicely. I can't speak more highly of these little bags, and I love them, and I love that they're zippered. I just love that they're zippered. I'm so excited. And then the other one that I found, yeah, I've had kind of a field day recently, is these little bags. They're little linen coin purses, and this one is, let me do the measurement again. This one is 3.5 by 5, but it's perfect for. So I've got the Earthbound Oracle in it. Oh, how did that happen? Sorry, my screen just went dead, and I don't know how to get it back. Oh, there we go. I don't think I disappeared to you, but I disappeared to me. Anyways, the Earthbound Oracle fits perfectly in these little bags, and they come in myriad colors. So I bought this yellow one, and then I have a light blue one, and I just went back and ordered like 3 more because I have a lot of smaller decks that fit perfectly in these zipper bags. And these come with little leather things on them, so they already have a zipper bolt. They're really well made, well lined. Just they're gorgeous. Just can't recommend them more highly. So that's my recent tarot haul. So that was cool. So the only other story I have, how far are we in here? 30 minutes. Okay. Got one short story. Um, so for those of you in the know, I have a little camper van that I tool around in mostly during the summer. And um, while I'm a pretty good nomad in many ways, the one place I really am not good at is knowing how my camper functions. So everybody yesterday, everything is push all the buttons and see if everything turns on properly. Um, but so in the process, and I don't getting storage around here is impossible. Because I'd love to put it in a warm storage thing, but I don't have it. It doesn't fit in my garage. It's too tall, so I leave it out on my driveway. And for 2 years in a row, even though I thought I heated it really well, 2 years in a row I froze everything, water, so which burst pipes and just a nightmare. Fortunately, no major damage came from those incidents, but it's expensive to fix. And so this year I was like, okay, because what you do is they call it winterization. You literally fill up your water lines with I keep wanting to call it de-icer, but you know what I'm talking about. Whatever it's deep, it keeps your lines from freezing. And so I was I can do this. So so I got all ready to do it, and then this went. I can't do this. So I called my guy who helped me fix it the last time. Kind of. He passed me off to somebody else because he wasn't all that familiar with my camper, and he didn't trust himself. But I said, "Can you do winterization?" And he goes, "Well, I can, but I'm so not familiar with your hot water system. I really just he didn't want to take on the responsibility, and I get that." Um, because regardless of what I would have told him, I probably would have held him responsible if I had an issue. So then I bounced back to, okay, I can do this. I can do this. So I got on Google, I got on YouTube, and there was a great video there from a couple called Tavon and Dave. They do TD adventures, and they're just so funny. They do these great van videos, and they have the exact same van that I do. And they're just as cute as can be, and I learned so much from them. Anyways, he had a whole video of how to winterize your vehicle and how to unwinterize it. So I watched that diligently, and then the other thing they did is they screenshotted a copy of directions that friends of theirs that had exactly the same van as well. A screenshot of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is what you do, all written down. The manual of the vehicle walks you through that, but they use terms that I'm just like, I don't know what that means. And so watching the video, they actually show you exactly where you have to go. And it's not easy. Vans are tight, so just to get to the water pump is tough. You have to pull a drawer out, on your hands and your knees, and trying to figure that out. And then you have to open up low. I can't even remember what they're called now, but they're low water lines that fall low, and you open those up to make sure all the water is drained out. You have to drain out your your hot water heater. Mine never works, but it's the first thing that freezes, of course. So drain that out, and then drain your water tank, and blah blah blah. It's just a million things you have to do. And but step by step, boom 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 boom, I went through the list. I'd ordered my well, it's not de-icer, but you know what I'm talking about. What the heck's that stuff called? It's the stuff that when you drink it, you die. Um, free Antifreeze. Geez, where's my head? Antifreeze. So so I had ordered that in early, so I was ready to go. And I went ahead and did it. I followed step 1 through 15 or whatever it was. Did it. So I was very proud of myself, incredibly proud of myself. And what's cool about it is that I now know the water system, because you literally have to turn, there's certain lines you have to turn on and off, make sure that the pink antifreeze goes through the sink faucet, through the outdoor shower faucet, through the indoor shower faucet, through the indoor toilet, through what else? And then, but you don't want it to go through your hot water heater. You have to bypass that and then drain that, and just, anyway, it's not that you're interested in any of that, but it taught me how that part of the system works. So I was really excited about that, because for the first time, I feel like I semi understand a portion of that vehicle. Now, there's two more systems I need to learn on that. Well, three. One is the electrical system, two is the inverter system, and three is how the freaking air conditioner works. Because that's the one where it's little, press all the buttons and see if it'll fire up. And it always does. But it's one of those things where it's kind of like when you fix something on your computer, you try all these methods and finally it's working. And at that point, you can't remember what it was that you did to make it work. That's kind of how it is in a van. So anyway, so I'm excited because I feel like I had a major life lesson with that vehicle, and it made me stronger and feel more powerful as a camper van owner, and as a 60-year-old lady. It made me feel um, that I am not too old to learn these tricks. So there you go. So that's my stories today. Thank you so much for stopping by. As always, I appreciate it so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful next couple of days, and we'll see you next time. Star and Flurry out.